everyone, welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a first impressions of this Colourpop Making Mauves palette, and this is the look that I created today. I was able to use all of the shades within this palette to get a kind of a good idea about it. So if you're interested to see this look and learn more about this palette and my first impression thoughts on it, then just keep watching. Alright, so first things first, I just primed my eyelids with the Lorac eyeshadow primer, and I've primed both of them, so we can just go ahead and jump right into the eyeshadow. This palette does not have a mirror, and honestly I don't mind that. Usually I get ready at my vanity, so I've already got a mirror there, but today I'm just going to be using the mirror from another palette. So if you see me holding that one, I'm not using it, I'm just using the mirror. I'm first going to go in with this shade here. This is called R&R. Taking this on a pretty big fluffy brush, and I'm just going to kind of set the eyeshadow base with this. This is blending very nicely. I know it's a really light shade with my skin tone, but it's covering up my veins and helping the primer, I think, kind of just prepare the eyes for a eyeshadow look. But in the pan, these shades do feel extremely creamy. Next, I'm just going to go into big moves here on the same brush. And I'm just wanting to put this into the crease in the transition. It's not much darker than the shade we just used, but it's a little bit more purpley. I'm going to take a little bit of a smaller blending brush and go into Big Fig, which is this one here. I'm blending this on the outer part of the lid, and I'm going to bring it up into the crease as well. I'm just trying to get a feel for these shadows, so I'm going to use as many as I can. But right now, my first impressions are just that they're very creamy and very blendable. And this is honestly one of the better Colourpop formulas that I've tried so far, so that's very exciting. You guys might not think that I have a lot of Colourpop in my collection, but over the years I have tried many palettes from them, so I do have a little bit of a better background than what my collection might suggest. So far they look very nice on the eyelids. Of course they're like slightly deeper in person. I've got lights on directly onto my face, so that's obviously going to change it just a little bit, but I think you guys can get a good enough feel for how it's really looking. Next I'm going to dip into the shade Tongue Tied. This is one of those mattes with glitter in it, and I'm just going to tap it off like really well to try and get all the glitters out of it. This one did have a slight amount of kickback in the pan. Just if that bothers you, this is nowhere near the It's My Pleasure palette. If you saw my Chit Chat Get Ready With Me video I posted a few videos ago, you know that that one got really messy on me. But I'm just going to bring this into the crease. There are a little bit of glitters in my crease from that shade, but they're not too overpowering or anything. Just for the purpose of using more shades, I am going to go into this one called Solitaire. This one is very loosely pressed, so it has a lot more kickback in the pan, but it's still like, that shows me it's probably a really blendable shade. So I'm just going to tap my brush off before I put it on. But I'm just going to move this into the outer half as well and just deepen it up even more. And I'm going to bring this into the crease too. The shade made it more brown than mauve, which typically I'd probably leave it at more mauve, but I did just want to see how all of the shades perform. Since there's only 9, I figured I'd probably be able to use them all. But I'm just going to go back into the shade Big Moves with that medium-sized blending brush and then just blend out the crease a little bit more. Yeah, that like blended it all perfectly together, so I am loving this palette. Again, if you guys saw that Chit Chat Get Ready With Me video, you probably saw, honestly, bless you if you watched my Chit Chat Get Ready With Me video, because the first half of it was like very negative, then all of a sudden it got a lot more optimistic and positive. So yeah, it was a bit of a mess and like all over the place, but I'm having much better luck with this one. I do just want to swatch the shimmer shades, trying to figure out what I want to do. So this first one is called Bi-Coastal. That is so metallic. The second one is A La Mode. Okay, these are really good formulas. And the last one is Mauve on Top. I think Kelly Gooch said this was like a super shock shadow. Yeah, it definitely feels like that. So very messy swatches, but here are those 3 shimmers. That's a really good range of shimmers in my opinion. You've got one that's more pink, you've got one that's lighter, and then you've got a little bit of a deeper one with that mauve on top. I'm very excited about this. So that's great news. You know, I kind of want to use them all. I've used 5 of the matte shades, and I will use this one as a liner here in a second, so I just want to use all of the shades. So on my finger, I'm just going to take Bi-Coastal, and I'm going to put this on like the inner third to the inner half of my lid. Okay, next I'm going to go into a la mode, just again on my finger. And I'm going to put this on the outer part of my lid. This one's slightly more dry. In the future, I'll probably use my NYX glitter glue underneath these, but I just wanted to see how they'd perform on their own, because the glitter glue can bring like any shadow and make it look amazing. So I really wanted to test the original formula. I actually want to try that shimmer shade on a brush. So again, I'm dipping back into a la mode. That one seems to be pressed a lot harder than the first shimmer that I used, but it is really pretty once you get it on the eye. And with the same brush, I'm going to dip back into Bi-Coastal just to kind of build that up on the inner half of the lid. There was some glitter fallout, so I'm just going to buff that away with my powder brush. But I do think using the NYX glitter glue would help with that. Lastly, for the shimmers, I'm just going to take Mauve on Top, which is the kind of super shock shadow formula. And I'm just going to lightly put this all over the lid. Just to kind of use it as a topper shade. This is like my perfect palette. Like, this is giving me Huda Beauty Nude Light vibes. And if you know how I feel about that palette, you know how much of a compliment it is for me to say that about this palette. Alright, lastly, I'm just going to dip into the darkest matte shade called Marquee with an eyeliner brush, and I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of a shadow liner on the lid. I'm going to switch the brush to more of an angled liner brush. The other one was more of like, well, it's a little bit better for a liquid liner. Again, that one had some fallout, so again, I'm just going to use my powder brush just to brush that off. I am going to post a video on my favorite brushes, so stay tuned for that if you're wanting to see, because I feel like I have some really good ones, both affordable and a little bit more high-end or high quality, however you want to look at it. But this is a really great powder brush. I'm just going to use that middle kind of sized blending brush. I'm not adding anything extra on it, but I'm just running that right on top of the shimmer shades just to blend them one last time. And I'm going to go ahead and put some mascara on and a lip color, and I'll be right back. I forgot to finish up the lower lash line, so I'm just going to go into Big Fig and put that all over the lower lash line. But alright guys, that is the completed look of my first impressions with the Making Mauve palette. I was able to use every single color, and I gotta say, this is probably one of my favorite Colourpop palettes that I've ever tried. So I am very happy with this purchase. Yeah, I'm super excited to keep playing with this, and also I will have a video coming up soon with the Going Coconuts palette that I purchased in the same order, so if you want to see that, just stay tuned because it should be the next video. But anyways, with that being said, that's it for me today, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!